Marty's garden is all about compost worms, composting, farming worms indoors and out, and growing some of the most awesome food around. You can learn how by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you don't miss any of my videos.
Welcome world to the Marty's Garden Show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from martysgarden.com.au. Now I've got the dad cup today, having a quick cup of tea. Still really smoky outside. We're getting some bushfires around again. I don't know if we can see that out here, that haze that we're getting. Normally off the distance there you can see the mountain, and if we can't see that mountain, North Brother over there, then it's really smoky because it's not very far away at all. Now I've got this camera set on the tripod so I can move it around, sorting out the worm cave so I can get more efficient in here to grow more worms, or farm more worms, and to really enjoy just being in this space. I had all the other worms sort of all around the place, farm here, farm there, and not systemised. I was getting a lot of castings, like I've just harvested 3 or 4 tubs, so two bins, 2 tubs high actually, and I've got a third one to go outside, and also going through all my little baby ones that I've been breeding in these little boxes and getting them out of there, because that didn't work at all. I had them in, actually, I'll get this, I had them in these things with holes drilled and holes in the top, and they just weren't draining as well as what I thought, and too much work having lots of little worm farms everywhere, right? So I'll show you when we get up to the end where I've got the new nursery now, and I think that's going to be much better. I've got some experiments coming up on that. So what we'll do is I'll grab the camera now, because we're vlogging, or vlogging as they like to say here on YouTube. Water system, ready to rock and roll. Now, maybe some people might not have seen this yet. So what we've got here is the maize worm farms all lined up on the maize stands. So they supply these stands. You can get them from maize.com.au. You can get, so this one should have 3, but I haven't put the extra shelf in yet. Oh, actually, no, sorry, these ones. I've got 3 on these ones. Really, these tall ones should have the 3. I made a bit of a boo-boo there, but never mind. So we'll come back again and go through. I've got to get the process right of filming in the worm cave here, right? So we'll start again from the beginning. Water, sitting there and dechlorinating. Worm farms, all now pretty much with 1,000 worms in them, and the only one at the beginning has 1 tier. And the interesting thing about the beginning, this one at the beginning here, I'll show you inside. So I just got to get used to using this camera. It's a new Sony camcorder. Most people film on mirrorless, and I just got to get used to using it. I'm going to flip this over here so I can have a look and use any edits there. And you can see I've got the Hessian blanket. So may sell these Hessian blankets as well, which is pretty cool if you're in Australia. And if you're wondering what that is, look, there's a worm there on it. This is bark off a tea tree. And I did some, well, I put this in a worm bin, actually out the back, the hungry bin, and I found they really liked it. So this one has just got a bit of chicken manure underneath it, so you can see here. And then I'm going to put bark and leaves and different things in there, just like a carbon bin, of a natural bin, as much as possible. And just see how they go. And look, they're already there. So that's pretty cool. Be interesting to see how that bin goes. So they're all about a week old now, these ones. And you can see the moisture's trapping on top, which is good, and they've been walking around in there. And so it's keeping the moisture in nice. And I don't think there's any problems with airflow in these worm farms. When we go into the next worm farm, so there's a lot of moisture there. I'll pour it back on that blanket. We don't want to waste any of that moisture. That's the good stuff, that condensation. And here, this is the coffee composted. So this is actually just sawdust composted in, well, 2/3 done. So worm there, look, there it is. So they're moving through it, it's exciting. 2/3 done, not fully broken down, coffee with a chemical-free sawdust. And I've been really wetting it down. You can see the white stuff on top, that's dolomite, to remove any of the acidity in the coffee. I don't mind a bit of acidic, the worms, that doesn't hurt them. And it does compact down, so it'll be interesting to see. They haven't really moved up through, because there's one there. So there isn't really a full-on food source like, say, manure and things like that, because it just hasn't started breaking down probably enough. But underneath the layer, right down where the first layer would be, that's where they'd be feeding, because it seems to break down differently to, say, like a piece of manure or something, where there's more surface area around. There's a flat surface area underneath. They'd be coming up from this bed here, up underneath, and feeding on that. And so you can see the coffee compost is falling through. So I was right there, look at them all in that top bit there. So it's falling through, and that's where they're feeding. So I was on the money there from knowing that from feeding them outside in my outdoor worm farm, Windrows. Now we're going to the next farm here. Yes, again, this is very exciting. What's under here? Dun, 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 dun. This, now, there's a lot of action going on here. Remember, there's 1,000 worms in this whole farm, and there's 2 tiers at the moment. Now, this is compost from out of my compost area that I sell to the locals, and so this is it's pretty much nearly finished compost. It's got little sticks in there, little twigs, little bits of manure, little bits of coffee, all types of stuff going on in there. Little bits of mushroom compost. So that would be the farm where I reckon they will be going into the most, and I reckon they'll polish that one off first. That's my gig on that one. I reckon they'll get into that one first. And this one here is just all wood chip and like unbroken down compost. So this is the first part that I start composting, and they do really like this stuff too. It takes longer to break down, but they love all this, like, just a lot of aeration, a lot of little sticks and little twigs and leaves, and just like a forest bed, right? And so they really get into that. We've poured dolomite over the top, and they'll move through this as long as I keep it moist. So that bit there is a bit dry, so they won't move into that area. So I've got to go through here and really wet it down much more. It feels too dry, so there's probably patchy wet spots that they're moving through. So that goes to show that, yeah, that unfinished compost, it won't take the moisture in as quick. That can be a bit of a problem, right? So let's move in to what we've got here now, moving down on the worm cave. So the bucket here for just doing lots of odds and ends at the moment. Another worm farm here. This is like an older one, one of the older plastic ones. And the type they call this, I think it's a worm factory. These are okay if you're doing like larger volume stuff. The little maze ones are a pretty worm farm, and they're more for on apartments, and you just want a stylish looking worm farm inside. Now again, this has got unfinished compost in it, sort of all sticks and twigs, but right in the center here is a whole lot of castings, a big castings ball, and it's where they can move in and out and hide in there into this area and feed around the edges. And at the moment I think there's about probably only 250. I've got to put more worms into this farm. It needs a lot more work on it yet. So we got the old farmer's hat. That one always blows away in the wind when I'm working outside. And we got some trucks. Wave to the neighbours. See you, mate. He doesn't know I'm filming him, but I think can't see him anyway. And another from Worm Farm here. Now this is interesting. This is the Worm Cafe. This is all coffee compost again. So another coffee compost farm. Now what I found with them outside with the coffee compost is that they actually really love to lay a lot of cocoons in this. So the idea is to see how quickly they break through it and get in the cocoons. Now there's about 250 worms in here as well, and this is a big ball of castings that they'll move in and out. They love hanging in that casting area, so there's a lot of moisture, all the biology's there, and they'll move in and out from that area. So this is their home base, and oh, look, there's one. So if we dig around, we can see they're moving out. They're moving out and across and doing what they need to do. And so I will really wet this down quite hard. There's only about 250 worms in here as well, so I've got to release a lot more into here as of yet. So it's hard to tell whether, it's hard to show you, I should say, exactly what's going on in there. But you can see the worm balls in the center of the castings where they can hide in and move in and out to that material. So we've created a little hotel in the center. Now, this is an underground worm farm, but it's dual purpose because there's another bucket underneath, and you can put it into there, and you can take it out, move it outside, fertilize your plants around some of your fruit trees or something like that, and bring it back indoors and put it back inside the bucket. If you look inside, this should have a lot of worms in here. Yeah, this, you can see them at the top there. A bit dark probably. And I don't want to go digging through there just yet, but this is like mostly castings. It's nearly all done. And I'll bring out some of the castings and show you. It's nearly all done. You can squash it in the bowl. Gets that clay look. Beautiful stuff. So that's ready to be harvested. And there'll be lots and lots of baby worms in there. But I just don't have time to get to that yet. So I'm happy for all those little wisps to get going. Now here's the nursery. Dun dun. Now what's going on there, Marty? Now this is pretty interesting. And this is something where I've got a couple of levels. I've got a big tote at the bottom. And I've got 2 trays from worm farms in there. And it's just chock-a-block full of castings. Worm castings. Which is just absolutely awesome in my perspective, because I can let all those little worms move around through all that castings, feel nice and comfortable in there, stay nice and moist. I don't have to worry about it dripping all down through onto the floor from not having enough moisture, and then I can just bait them over time, and they're all little baby ones. And so I've put the food up the top level here, the chicken manure, and that's got to dry off. So I'll get them to come up, eat all that chicken manure, move up into this, from this bottom bin to this one, and then I'll pull this whole one out, and that will be full of worms, and then that will just all be castings. So it's a bit like doing a tiered layer, but I've just used trays from these worm farms. Well, I've got another one like this outside, on top of a big tote. Now remember, to do it like this, you've got to have just castings, or because if the moisture's all going down and through, it's going to create a problem. And you need to have layers of carbon to catch the moisture and stuff as well. So there's a bit more to it. I may show this further on, or it may go, it's very likely this type of content is going to go inside my website and give a full rundown in the worm farming area, which I'm working on a members area at the moment. Just Christmas time coming up and everything, things are a little bit slow, but I'd love to get that information in. That will be my gold content, helping people create worm hatcheries. So there we go. I'm just going to flip the camera back over again. We'll move back over to my, I'm dropping the camera. There we go. I'll move back over to the table here, shine down onto the wormery, the worm cave, I should say. Still getting used to using this camera. I love this guy. Oh man, look at that. Look at that. It just locks focus on my face. It's absolutely perfect. I've got the microphone up on top, little stand. I can film all inside here and show you what's going on in the worm cave at Marty's garden. So if you want to follow my show, you want to learn more about worm farming and growing fresh food fast in urban places and small spaces, make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's always a button around somewhere, bottom corner, down the bottom. Click that thumbs up. Say g'day, because I really love hearing from you. Go and have a cuppa, whether you drink tea or coffee, doesn't matter. and enjoy your day. Have a great day. Happy gardening and worming, and we'll see you at the next video real soon. Bye for now.
Yeah, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens.
Where your heart is the sun, and it shines as it opens.
Yeah, your heart is a sun, and it shines.